Now, first off, I'm going to be doing the wrong side or the don'ts on this side, and I'm going to be doing the correct way on this side. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, which is all about educational beauty. Today's video are the top 5 common makeup mistakes when it comes to the eyes, the do's and don'ts. So I'm really excited to share this with you because these are kind of the 5, I would say, most common mistakes that people make, and I'm going to show you the wrong way and I'm going to show you the right way, so stay tuned. Now, if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Don't forget I'm over on Instagram too, so come and say hi there. There's a bit of reels, a bit of unboxing, and just generally what I get up to behind the scenes when I'm not filming for YouTube. Now let's head straight into the video. So I've done a few different makeup videos which show you makeup mistakes or do's and don'ts, and I really wanted to today focus on just the eye area. So here it goes. I'm going to give you the top 5 common eye makeup mistakes. So the do's and don'ts, I'm going to show you how not to do it, and then I'm also going to show you how to do it. Now, before we go any further, I just want to add that I am not saying that everyone or anyone out there is completely wrong when it comes to applying their makeup and this is the only correct way. I'm just showing you what I have learned over my years of being a celebrity makeup artist and also working on hundreds and hundreds of different faces. So I hope this kind of like helps you out, and whatever you can take away from it, amazing. And if you're already kind of doing something and you're doing it a little bit differently and it works for you, then that's great too. So I really just wanted to share my knowledge and hope that it helps you. So let's get started. Now, first off, I'm going to be doing the wrong side or the don'ts on this side, and I'm going to be doing the correct way on this side. Again, I just want to reiterate that although I'm saying wrong and correct or wrong and right, I'm just using those words because it kind of comes to me more naturally. It doesn't mean that that is the wrong side. Like, it could suit someone, but I'm showing you what could be much better for you. So there are things that you can do which will work way better for you and be a lot easier and could actually correct some of the things that are happening to your eye makeup currently that you don't even realize are even happening. Let's get started. Number 1 is to make sure that you actually prep your eye area correctly before you start any kind of eyeshadow look or eyeliner look. Now, currently I have nothing on my eyelids here, so it's just my bare skin on my eyelids, and what I want to do is kind of prime it. Now, some people will say you should use an eye primer, and some people would say that you don't need an eye primer. I'm going to be honest, I'm in the no eye primer kind of camp, but what I do want to explain to you is you can use eye primer as well. I would recommend any one of those two kind of options. So either using an eye primer or using just your concealer and your powder to kind of like give you that base. I personally prefer using concealer and powder. Now let's very quickly go through why you would use concealer and powder over using an eye primer. Now, if you have discoloration on your eyelids, like for example, my eyelids are a lot darker than anywhere else on my body or my face basically, it makes more sense for me to use concealer to give me that really nice even skin finish, and then I set it with powder and then I'm kind of ready. That's my priming done for my eye area. Whereas if you don't have any discoloration, you're kind of happy with the skin or the even tone of your eyelids, then you probably don't even need to use concealer and powder. You can actually just use an actual eye primer such as the Milk Hydro Grip eye primer. I think this is a really, really good one. You could use that instead just as your eye primer, and then you move forward with your eyeshadow or whatever it is that you're applying on your eyes. So I think that's what I really wanted to make clear, because some people say you should use concealer and powder, don't kind of explain why, and then some people will say no, but you can't do anything without using an eye primer. So I really wanted to explain to you why you would use concealer and powder over a normal eye primer. There is a big difference. If you have uneven skin, like dark areas, then the concealer and the powder is going to work wonders for you, because this isn't really going to do anything other than keep your eyeshadow in place, but then everything else can end up looking patchy because you already have patchy skin underneath. So let's get started. I'm going to use my concealer and I'm just using my Tarte Shape Tape. I would recommend using a concealer which is kind of not overly thick, but thick enough to be able to kind of stay in place all day, although we are going to kind of set it. As I mentioned, this area here is going to be the don't, so I'm going to leave this bare. So I'm going to move straight over to the do. So this area here, we're just going to leave as it is because that's how not to kind of like do it. So I'm going to apply my concealer over my lid, just a little bit, not a lot. I'm going to get my sponge, just any beauty blender, and we're just going to like literally press this into the skin. And you are going to immediately see how this is just going to, all of a sudden, it's just making the whole eye area look super even. Look at that. See how that's just now the same color as the rest of my skin, because I've got foundation in other areas, and here it's dark. If you like that look, then obviously go for it and just use a normal eye primer. But you know, if you like the color there, but I personally like everything to be very even. So yeah, there you go. I'm gonna now use a powder to set it. Now, another thing that you could do wrong here is kind of like apply the concealer and go straight into applying eyeshadow. I know it's easy to think, okay, but I'm gonna be using a powder eyeshadow. It's powder, isn't that gonna set it as it goes along? But it's not, because it's color. The minute you apply a little bit of that color to that skin, which is tacky because you haven't set it with powder, it's going to stick, and then you're going to end up with really patchy eyeshadow. So I'm going to go ahead, and before I start, like, you know, if I just start blinking around and everything and then I go in 5 minutes later, I'm going to be setting that little crease there, right? Make sure you know, just make sure that there's no crease there. And then we're going to go in with this powder. There you go. I've just pressed it on with a powder puff, and then I'm just dusting it away with my brush. There you go. So that's nice and matte now. Like I said, if you like this kind of look, perfect, go for it. But if you don't, and you are wondering why your eyeshadow ends up just not looking as flawless as you'd want it to, and the color just isn't coming out as much, then it's probably because you haven't kind of primed it in place and given yourself a nice even base to begin with. So that is the first common mistake. You can see the difference, right? Now, next up, we're going to move on to eyeshadow application, and I'm going to explain to you what the issue is here. Now, we're going to be using the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. I'm going to use my Sigma E45 brush. Now, what I'm going to be showing you is the don't and then the do, right? Now, first off, we already have that kind of first mistake, which is that we don't have anything on there, not even an eye primer, right? So we're just literally just have our eye cream as I applied it right at the beginning, and then that's it. And here we've set it, so there's no creasing, it looks nice and even, it's matte, so it's perfect for a matte eyeshadow. Even for a cream eyeshadow, it's good. So we're gonna move in with an eyeshadow. Now, the first mistake that I'm gonna show you when it comes to applying an eyeshadow is applying the eyeshadow onto the brush like that. I'm going to keep it there, and we're not going to do anything. We're going to go straight into the eye area. So this is where we're just going to, and I'm also going to go back and forth, just that whole windshield wiper technique. Already I can feel the brush sticking to certain areas. So this is going to be way more patchy, because what happens is, and I can actually see that the first area that I applied that color to, there's just more color there. Like right here, there's more color than anywhere else. Hopefully you can see, it's just like this big chunk of brown there. And I've gone back and forth, and I'm just kind of like going back and forth. I'm not focusing on doing anything else. I'm pressing pretty hard, not too hard, but you know, I'm pressing down so that the hairs are moving, and I'm just going back and forth. That's all I'm doing there. I really do hope you can see the patchiness there. There's not kind of any transition anywhere. It's kind of like, not even transition, it's not kind of faded at the ends, it's just very there. That's the first mistake. Now, that isn't how you want to apply eyeshadow if you want to kind of apply it into the crease area, into the socket area. Now, what we're going to do is, I've got my tissue ready, right? So that's here. I've got my eyeshadow. I'm going to dip it into the eyeshadow. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just press this onto the tissue. You can use the back of your hand if you want to. So literally just press it once or twice. That's enough. Whatever's left on there is enough. Now, the problem was that when we first went in, we didn't let that brush get in contact with anything other than my eyelid. So what happens is all that product that's built up onto those hairs on the brush just goes like bam, right onto the eyelid, and it just sticks there. So what we want to do is take off that excess, and we want to go here. And now we're not going to just press hard and do the whole windshield wiper kind of movement. What we're going to be doing is kind of like pressing it in, but kind of like very lightly. So I'm using the tip of the brush. And the whole point, what we're going for is just like a nice kind of soft defined crease, right? Already you can see there's not a lot of product there. Like immediately, look how much product was on there. This is a lot lighter, a lot softer. And don't get me wrong, like it doesn't mean you can't go for a heavy look like this. You can, but there is a better technique of applying it. So you can just keep building it up. Now what we're doing is we're kind of like making sure we're getting into that crease So I'm kind of like going inwards from here and inwards from here. I'm pressing very lightly, so it's kind of like not going everywhere, and it's kind of a bit more like, you know, painting. So I'm dragging this out a little bit. So I first focus on that middle bit here, and then we're going to kind of like really soften the edges of it so it doesn't look like there's just a blunt stop like there is here. And we can build it up. So I've taken some more product, take this off on the back of my hand. Now, I want to explain that the whole windshield wiper technique is fine as long as you're not pressing too hard and you're not making the movement too big. So here it was literally just like that all the way across, right? Here I kind of like gradually just painted it on. You can go with the whole windshield wiper technique, but you press a lot lightly and you don't take it all the way to the end. You know, if you see, I'm just doing small movements here, and here. So it's a lot more kind of diluted than what it was when we actually applied it here. So we've got that really nice kind of sculpting there, and we're really focusing on how it looks at the end of it, like the beginning of it and also the end of it, right? So we're not just kind of just whacking it all on. I'm kind of happy with that because I have that definition. It isn't in your face and it isn't just all patchy and muddy. My next eye makeup mistake is using the wrong eyeshadow brushes. And I'm going to be showing you what I would do if I was doing it the wrong way, using a standard eye makeup brush, which I feel like majority of people have. That basic eyeshadow brush, that kind of like domed, flattish finish to it. So I'm going to be using this on the wrong side and the correct one's on the right side. Now, on the wrong side, what I'm going to be doing is applying a dark color, like a deep brown, and kind of applying it for a really nice winged, like kind of winged kind of effect to my whole eyeshadow look. And I'm going to show you right now. I'm dipping it into the dark brown and I'm basically just applying this all across because what I'm trying to do here is get that really nice kind of nice winged finish to my whole eye. Now, first off, that first mistake that we made of not putting a primer on has already, even the mistake before this, it kind of like was obvious how much of a difference it makes. But even now at this point, when I've applied this dark eyeshadow, it's just kind of like created a line there, which isn't going to blend because it's so tacky underneath it, it's just going to stick. So it's kind of like annoying because you can't actually kind of do what you wanted to do. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going in circular movements, and this is that point where you end up just going too far because you've got too much on your brush, and there you go. It's all kind of patchy, doesn't look like there's much kind of going on there other than just it's a very intense smoky eye. If you want to go for that, then great, but that isn't what we're going for today. That is my first thing that I wanted to show you, is that you're using a brush which is way too big for the area because we were trying to give ourselves a really nice kind of like feline eye. Now what I'm going to be using on the correct side is my Sigma E75 brush and my Sigma E30 brush. By the way, I do have a Sigma eye brush set. Make sure you head over there. The link is in my description. It's limited quantities. It's not too expensive because it genuinely is cheaper than getting them individually. So make sure you head over and grab them because they have all the eye brushes you will ever need. Now, I'm going to use my E75 brush. I'm going to dip this in to that dark brown. I'm going to just take the excess off on a tissue and I'm going to basically press this really close to my lash line, and this is going to give me that kind of like thickish, it's kind of getting thicker as we go out, eyeliner look. But what I wanted was for it to look really nice and feline. So now what we've done is we've picked a brush which is like perfect for the area that we're working on, right? Now what I've done is I've finished just there at the end of the lash line. I'm going to grab hold of that other brush there, the E30 brush, nothing on this brush, and we're going to use this to blend. I cannot begin to tell you how much of a difference this will make to your whole entire routine if you keep one for application and one for blending. So now what we're doing is in very small circular movements, I'm kind of like softening this whole area and then dragging this out. And because we actually stopped way before the end of the lash line, like as in just at the end of the lash line actually, it means that when we start blending it outwards, it's not going to come out too far out. Like this is kind of like gone all over the place, and this is a bit more kind of, well, there's just something to it. It just looks like it's enhancing our natural eye contours as opposed to just covering it all up. So I feel like now we've got this really nice shape here where I feel like it's kind of elongated, but it hasn't made my eye look smaller either. Now, I also want to show you just kind of like how it can look applying it on the lower lash line as well. So I'm going to go in with this. This is the wrong side, and I'm just going underneath my lashes here. So just underneath my lash line, and that's it, right? There you go. Now what I want to do is on this side, I'm going to use a different brush. I'm using a much smaller brush. This is the E21 brush, and I'm going to use that same color, and I'm taking it off on the back of my hand. And now instead of going below the lashes, I'm actually going into the lashes. So really focusing on getting into the root of the lash, back and forth. And this way, it's not kind of gonna, it's not, that came out really weird. It's not kind of going to, you know, like drag the eye down as much. So it kind of like keeps it not so scary. Like I know that from afar, maybe some of you might think, I'm just basing this on past videos where I've done like the wrong side and people have been like, oh, I really like that side. Not majority, the minority, obviously, but you know, you do get the odd person who says that. And to be honest with you, if you were looking at this close up, face to face, it is extremely patchy and it can be a little bit scary. It's just like a lot of makeup. And really when you're talking to someone, you don't want them to really be looking at the makeup as much. It should not be makeup and that's it. You know, you should still be able to see your natural features coming through too. And you want your natural features to be enhanced, not kind of hidden. This to me kind of hides it a little bit because I could do this on anyone. This to me kind of enhances my features a bit more. Now the next eye makeup mistake is eyeliner application. So what I'm going to be doing here is actually applying eyeliner just to kind of like the whole lid, like the whole lash line, but I'm also going to really thin it out and kind of keep it thin because we've got a lot of eyeshadow going on. I don't want it to be a really thick looking eyeliner look. I want it to still look kind of pretty, but not over the top and not too just, you know, that. So I'm going to stick to like using my eyeliner pen. Now I'm using my Benefit They're Real extreme precision eyeliner, and I'm going to be doing it on the wrong side first. So first off, this is a mistake I see a lot of people making, is the way that you're holding your brush and the angle of your face. So there's a couple of different mistakes in this one mistake that I'm showing you, right? First off, you really want to make sure that you're looking, your position of your head and your mirror is in the correct position. I see a lot of people getting their mirror and then they're going like this and they're looking down. That's not how you're going to be looking at people, right? When you're talking to people, that person's head is not going to be down here, right? So it may look all good down here to you, but when you're talking to them, you're not going to be like that. You know what I mean? So you really want to position your mirror in the position of someone's head. You know, you want it to be eye level, right? So bring that mirror like, I'm trying to hold this so you guys can see it. Bring that mirror like eye level, right? So you can really see you're doing it straight ahead. Always look straight ahead into the mirror. Don't even try and do it to the side because you're just using, like, obviously move to the side a little bit if you need to get to that part, but initially try and do as much as you can looking straight ahead. Now, I'm going to show you in the wrong way. So I'm going to hold this down here and I'm also going to be using the tip of the brush. I'm just using like the tip. I don't even know how else to explain that, but I'm going to show you the right way in a minute. So all I'm doing is kind of like using the tip. So I'm holding the brush like that, and then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to create this kind of eyeliner. I'm actually still trying to do this right naturally. It's just okay. So I did my eyeliner looking down into the mirror and I used the tip of the brush throughout most of it. That's what it looks like. Again, some of you might say, oh, that's probably better than what I do myself. And trust me, I haven't gone out of my way to make this bad. And I'm not saying, oh, even my bad version is like good. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that the reason I'm saying that is because I've had some people previously mention saying, oh, that's still better than what I do. It's not about becoming better than someone else. It's about kind of being the best version of yourself and being as good as you can be good, if that makes sense, right? It's just becoming better than what you currently are. It's not about being better than anyone else. So what I've done is I've used the tip of my brush and I kind of look down into the mirror and I can already see from looking straight ahead, for me, it might be fine for you, for your face shape, but for me, this is too down. This whole wing is just not doing me any justice. Fine, some of you might think, oh, it's a really nice eye. For me, this isn't what I was going for. Like, this whole eye look is not what I anticipated. That's not what I was actually going for. What I was going for was this. If I was going for something like this, fair enough. And I could obviously just tweak a few little bits. Fair enough, right? If I'm going for that much of a dark eye, I'm not going for that much of a dark eye. So it's not about whether it's nice or not. It's about whether it actually is what I anticipated it to be and what I was planning for it to be. This isn't what I was planning for it to be. The eyeliner is very kind of like that. It's just not lifting at all. So I'm going to move over and I'm going to do this right on the other side. Right, I'm going to hold this mirror up now where I would normally hold it. And now what I'm going to be doing is using the side of the brush, not the tip of the brush. So I'm going to use the side and I'm looking straight ahead into this mirror. And this way I can actually see a bit better, like it gives me a better indication as to what it could end up like. I'm keeping this very thin because remember I said to you before I want it pretty thin. Now here, I've stopped at the end of the lash line. Now this is where I am using the tip and I'm just going to basically do a little line there and then with the side of the brush. See, when I move my head to the side, I'm still kind of keeping the mirror upright. See, now I feel like I'm happy with that because I feel like I've got the wing, but it's not too thick. And it's also lifting and it hasn't completely overshadowed my eyeshadow. Whereas this side, you can see it just looks a bit messy. It's just kind of messy and it's not doing anything for me. It's just a basic eye look, which is not blended well and there's no thought has kind of gone into it. And I feel like the way it looks, it looks like no thought has gone into it. It just kind of looks like I've, you know, put it all on and that was it. Next mistake is your mascara application. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my YSL Lash Clash mascara. I also have my lash curlers here. Now what I'm going to be doing is doing the wrong side first, and what I'm doing is just going to go straight into this mirror, hold the mirror down there, and I'm literally just going to kind of like apply my mascara. This is a common mistake. But honestly, if you do it the right way, it makes such a huge difference. And I'm just applying it like that. I'm going to go into my lower lash line. And I'm just applying it as normal. See, I'm just kind of putting it through my lashes as I would do on top. That to me is a mistake. The reason being is because what I've done is I've applied my mascara in a kind of wishy-washy way. So I've just applied it normally, but I've applied it in the same technique on the lower lashes. I've got spidery, clumpy lashes, which do not look good. I don't know in what world that would look good unless you're like, I don't know, in a music video or you have, I don't know, on the runway for some specific look, like edgy look, but an everyday look, it isn't nice, right? Now, we're gonna do the correct way. I'm gonna grab my eyelash curlers and I'm gonna curl my lashes first. This, honestly, is a game changer. These are for the upper lashes, then I'm gonna go through the lower lashes with you. Okay. Now I am going to hold my mirror down here and keep my head up and apply it. So this way my lid is kind of like extended so that the lashes are not going to touch my lid. If I put it straight like that, then basically it's more likely to touch my lid. Okay, I'm really focusing on making sure that I'm not applying it kind of like, I'm not rubbing it into the roots too much. If you want a really thick lash look, then fair enough, do it. But there you go. I'm happy with the way that that mascara has gone on. It definitely looks better than the other side. The other side are like just straight and do not look nice. But these ones are really nice and curled. Okay, now when it comes to applying mascara onto the lower lashes, this is where we're going to do it a little bit differently. I am going to basically touch my lashes. I'm not rushing it. I'm not brushing it through from the root. I definitely don't want to touch the root. I'm just touching the ends of my lashes and that's it. So just the ends. Okay, so as you can see, we have the wrong side here and then the correct side here. Now, you can probably see this is a lot more cleaner. That's what I like. I like makeup to be clean. I like it to look clean. I like it to just look neat. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I would like it to look neat. And I don't think that I know of anyone who doesn't want it to look clean, at least, you know. I don't want it to look like I haven't washed my face or this is an eye look from last night, you know. So hopefully you can really see the difference. This is a lot more muddy. And if I was going for this look, great. maybe it's just like, you know, an okay version of it, but it isn't what I was going for. I was going for something like this. I was going for something clean. I was going for something where I can still see my eyelid, and this isn't it. So I really do hope that all these kind of mistakes have kind of helped you. There were a couple of extra ones in between each mistake, like in each mistake. And hopefully this has kind of shown you what you can do to kind of like just change it. They're very subtle changes you can make, but they make the world of difference. I can't even remember if that is a saying, the world of difference. Isn't it the world of good? I've just made that up, I think, but we'll go with it because you know what I mean. So yeah. Anyway, wherever you are in the world, I'm sending you loads of love. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video today and you've managed to correct some of the mistakes that maybe you're making, or maybe it's just generally made your application better. Now, if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.